Hi, and welcome to Faith and Flour. I'm Robin. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad you're here. I've got a fun fall-inspired video for you today, along with a few practical tips to help you prepare for winter. As the weather turns cooler outside, my focus shifts towards creating a warm and snug indoor environment. There are several nesting tasks that I do in our home to ensure a comfortable, efficient, and safe haven from the cold. With each change of season, I try to make some small changes in decor that reflect the new season. For me, these changes can be very subtle, like changing the linens on our table from cool summer to cozy fall colors. Colors and soft textures are what I'm going for. This plant loves this spot near the window, and I have been enjoying it ever since my daughter-in-law Lauren helped me pick it out when they were here a few months back. Switching it from the white pot, which looked great in the summer, to the seagrass basket will add some warmth and texture to our table. I've had this wooden pumpkin for several years. It is displayed in a new location just about every year, and this year I think it looks great on our table. The entryway to our home is one of my favorite areas to display sentimental items, and I love for it to reflect the current season. So it's fun for me to switch things out here, reusing things we already have and keeping it very simple. This bench is put to use at our table whenever we have guests, and when it's not in use, we keep it here to the side, and I like to add a few items to cozy it up this time of year. Another very subtle change in our living room is to swap out the trays on our ottoman. Again, it's about color and texture. This corner of our kitchen that we call our beverage station is one of my favorite spots to bring in a little seasonal decor. But this time I'm mostly just rearranging what's already there and bringing out our favorite fall and winter drink mixes, hot cocoa and chai latte. And while the space is clear, I'll take this opportunity to give the countertops a quick clean. winter weather and indoor heat can be very dry, which leads to discomfort and even respiratory issues. You could invest in a humidifier to add moisture to the air to prevent dry skin and respiratory irritation, and you can do things like diffuse essential oils, which add a cozy natural scent to your home along with added moisture. There are several fall blends that I love, and I will put those in the description box. This one is new to me and we are really enjoying it this fall. Just combine 3 drops of Bergamot essential oil, 3 drops of Anise Star, 2 drops of Clove, and 2 drops of Frankincense to your diffuser with water. Your home will smell amazing and the steam will bring some needed moisture. Similarly, a simmer pot can do the same thing using ingredients you probably already have. Just slice up some citrus fruits and apples and then add them to a sauce pot, cover with water, and then add some warm spices like cinnamon and ginger or pumpkin pie spice. And let it simmer for several hours or all day to add some cozy fall scents to your home and to improve the humidity. I just want to take a minute to show you this pretty hair clip I'm wearing today. It's by Lilla Rose, and a sweet subscriber, Brittany, sent a few for me to try out. She's a work-from-home mom and has a business selling these. They are called Flexi Clips. They come in multiple sizes to work for a variety of different styles and all kinds of hair. They're really comfortable and non-damaging, and I've really been enjoying them. And I will link Brittany's website down in the description box so that you can check them out too. Transitioning your wardrobe for winter is a key nesting task. Retrieve winter coats, sweaters, and boots from storage and launder or dry clean them as needed. I try to do that when I put these things away at the end of the season so that they stay clean while they're being stored. But if you haven't done that yet, make sure to do that. And ensure that gloves, hats, and scarves are readily available. This not only keeps you warm when venturing outdoors, but also promotes a seamless transition into the colder season. One way we try to reduce heating costs during the winter time is by wearing seasonally appropriate clothes and adding a layer instead of turning up the thermostat when it gets chilly. We also look for alternative ways to cozy up, like using a heating bag like this one I made filled with dry corn. After just a few minutes in the microwave, I can warm up my cold hands or feet, and I love slipping one under the covers of our bed before we go to sleep. an organized pantry is a cornerstone of winter preparedness. Before the chill sets in, take inventory of your pantry staples and ensure you have an ample supply of non-perishable foods, including canned goods, rice, pasta, and other staples. Now is a good time to consider adding some comfort foods and warm beverages to your stockpile for those cozy winter nights. Organize your pantry to make meal preparation more efficient and enjoyable during the winter months, which for me is the time of year that I most enjoy cooking, baking, and experimenting with new recipes. This is the time of year I enjoy spending time in the kitchen the most. I like to gather up our family's favorite recipes and explore and experiment with new recipes. I especially love to bake this time of year, so I'm planning to do more of that in some upcoming videos. This week I tried a new recipe for Spaetzle, which was inspired by our recent trip to Switzerland. Spaetzle is a sort of dumpling or pasta that goes really well with lots of our favorite meals. I found a recipe for gluten-free Spaetzle that I will link down in the description box, and I'll also link my Spaetzle maker, which I had a lot of fun using. This recipe is very easy to make gluten-free, but if you don't need to eat gluten-free, there are tons of recipes online to make it with regular all-purpose flour. In addition to the flour, you'll need salt, some freshly ground nutmeg, which is optional but definitely adds a lot of flavor, some milk, and eggs. It has been quite a while since I tried making Spaetzle, and I never made it gluten-free, so I wasn't sure if the dough was the right consistency. It seemed a bit runny, but I later discovered why that might be necessary, and I will talk to you about that a little later in the video. Anyway, I went ahead and added more flour until the dough came together better, and then I covered it and let it rest in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. In the meantime, I started making our main dish, pork chops in a creamy mushroom sauce. I make this without a recipe because it's really more of a method for making all sorts of pan sauces, but I will put a more detailed recipe down in the description box for you. Start by seasoning and browning the pork chops in butter or ghee, and then remove them from the pan and use the same pan to make the sauce. I'm serving some steamed asparagus on the side, so while I'm making the sauce, I'll get those going. like to use the juices and the brown bits from the pork chops to flavor the sauce, and making everything in the same pan cuts down on washing dishes. If the pan needs some deglazing, I pour in a little broth and scrape up the brown bits on the bottom of the pan. I'm using beef broth in the recipe today, but you can use chicken broth or wine, and I like varying these to make all sorts of different flavored sauces. Once the mushrooms have started to release their juices and cook down a bit, I add some spices or some herbs, and I like to vary those up too. Tonight I'm using thyme because I think it goes really well with pork. Before adding the rest of my broth, I'm putting in some minced garlic and letting it cook for a minute or two, being sure to stir it so that it doesn't burn. Let the sauce reduce by half and then add in some heavy cream. Season it to taste with some salt and pepper, and then add the pork chops and their juices back in and let everything simmer for about 8 minutes or until the pork chops are done. I'm using bone-in pork chops because I find that they stay juicier and are more flavorful than the boneless, but you can use either in this recipe. Now to make the Spaetzle. Place the Spaetzle maker over a pot of boiling water. And here's where I discovered why I should have left the dough a bit runny. When you put the dough into the sleeve, it should easily drop through the holes and into the water while you move it back and forth. With the thicker batter, I needed to help it along by pushing it through with my spatula. I actually found it easier to do this without the sleeve, and it worked out pretty well. Even though I may have goofed a little bit here, it didn't affect the Spaetzle as far as taste and texture. It was perfect. So I think I will try it as the original recipe was written, and if we don't like that, I'll return to this method. They only need to boil for about 5 minutes or until they're tender and cooked all the way through. Then I drained them and returned them to the pan along with a little butter to keep them from sticking together. The Spaetzle are great served just like this, but because they are also delicious pan-fried, I experimented another night with putting them in the air fryer until golden, and they were amazing too. I hope this inspired you to give something new a try as you enjoy more time in the kitchen this fall. And if you try this recipe, definitely let me know down in the comment section. Before I go, I wanted to show you something kind of neat that happened this past week. You may have heard about the Ring of Fire eclipse that we had. We were a little bit east of where it could be viewed best, but we still got to see it partially as its shadow filtered through the tree leaves onto the pavement and pool cover in our backyard. Can you see the half circles? Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate you spending your time with me here today. Don't leave without giving me a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and leave me a comment below. I really love hearing from you. I'll be looking forward to seeing you next Sunday, and until then, have a wonderful week.